There is a reason why the US is one of the most sought after study abroad destinations. But what do you do if you want to go study in the US and you have a low GPA? By the end of this video, you are going to have the strategy, the names of the universities that you should be thinking out from start to end if you want to go study in the US and you have a low GPA. So here we are going to start with thinking about the three routes of admissions, like the pathways to admissions in the USA. So route one, here you meet all the academic requirements, and then like 3.0 plus GPA, straight you go, you have your admission into a US university. Route two, you have the conditional admission route, and here you meet the academic GPA but you have a low English, so they give you like a conditional letter of admission, and then you take your English classes first, and then you get to the US university. Kind of complicated, but you have to go through the process. Path three, you have the pathway programs, and here you have lower GPA is accepted, and then here it requires a combination of ESL and then academic credit, and then some sort of a guaranteed progression. And if you're able to show that that is what is going on with you, then you can get admissions into US colleges. I know that this can be very complicated for someone that wasn't born in the US, hasn't gone through that system, or you will have to pay a ton of money to like admissions coaches for them to tell you what to do. Trust me, when I was in California, I saw admission coaches in action. Oh my goodness. People were paying. They had like these huge Chinese families. The consultant was actually working out of the lounge in our hotel, and you had these huge Chinese families coming and asking for questions about, or they all brought their kids. I was sitting in the lounge there. I was sitting in the lounge in the hotel, and then they brought their kids. They show the kid to the admission counselor, gives advice about, okay, or looking at this, you can go to Stanford. Probably I should start doing something like that. I should start doing something like that. Anywho, let's go ahead. The next thing that yeah, I was telling you all admission stories in the US, but it is actually true. It is a huge business that people do in order to get students into admissions into US colleges. So let's look at, based on what is going on with you, you will have to reset the strategy, right? All right, you guys, I'm just going to take a minute here to tell you all about my database. My database has everything that you need to succeed in your study abroad journey. It is the best investment that you are going to ever make. It's updated almost every day, and it has everything: scholarships, graduate assistantships, SOP samples, CV samples, recommendation. Like, it has everything that you need for your study abroad process. All you have to do is get up every day, 1 or 2 hours, look through the scholarships, graduate assistantships, SOP samples, write yours, and you apply, apply, apply. This is the strategy that I used in order to get 4 fully funded scholarships, and it is going to do the same thing for you too. If you follow it every day, you are going to get your scholarship. The link is in the description box. Sign up for it. So one of the things that you can do here is community college and then a university. One of our mentors, actually, this is what he did. He was living in San Diego, I think, and then he did 2 years of community college and then went to, I think, Stanford. So here you have 2 years of community college plus 2 years at a top university equals to a bachelor degree. That is the formula. So here you have, for example, Tacoma Community College, and it admits high school completion, not always required. You work on campus, and then the cost is about $23,000, and then you can now from there go to a regular, like a top university, and then you graduate. And actually, this is also a cheaper option compared to like just regular going straight for a 4 years bachelor's in a US university. Here you have Normandale Community College. That's another example. Okay, so the Tacoma was in Washington, and then Normandale Community College, this is in Minnesota. So it's open to international students, and it's established pathways to Minnesota State universities. The cost is about 100,000. So why it works, you transfer after 2 years based off of your college GPA, wiping the slate clean from a high school GPA. So it really does not matter what your GPA was, because that is not what they are going to judge you to admit you into these community colleges. And then based off of now you being admitted into the community college, you go there, you do well, then you now do 2 years. You do 2 years in the community college, and then you go do 2 years in a top university. And honestly, cost wise, I think this is cheaper. This is actually cheaper. So let's move on. We have the undergraduate options. This is those that are from 2 to 2.5 GPA. McNessy State University, freshman, the minimum is 2.3 GPA. Chico State, Chico State. I don't know what university this is. The minimum here is 2.0. And then Texas A&M University. This actually requires, they are accepting just transfer only. So you need to transfer from probably like a partner school or something. And then Clark University, the GPA that they are accepting here is 2.0. So if you're someone who has a low GPA and you're thinking about going to study in the US, these are some of the options that you should be thinking about and seeing if, okay, maybe I can apply to these universities. Now let's go to the next one. This is 2.5 now to 2.75 GPA. So the first one we're looking at, that was like 2 to 2.5 GPA, right? So now this is 2.5 to 2.75. Kansas State University, they are accepting 2.5 as a GPA on a scale of 4. UNC Greensboro, they are accepting 2.5 as minimum. Kent State, they are accepting 2.5 as your GPA. And then Fontbonne University, they are accepting 2.5 as your GPA for admissions. I think that is a pretty decent deal if you have a low GPA. Of course, you have to look through all of the other things that come with studying in this university, tuition, scholarships. I don't know if you're going to get a scholarship if you have a 2.5 GPA. I don't know, but probably there are ways that you can work in order to make up the money. Honestly, if you have a low GPA, I think the first advice will be that you have to sort of look for the money, because when it comes to the funding usually is tied to like students who really perform really well. Okay, so let's look at the pathway pivot, assessing higher ranked schools. Like, what can you do? Because all of this, you see, these are not even like household names in terms of like universities, right? So what can you do? So what you can do is, for example, Oregon State University, direct entry requirement is 3.0 GPA, but they have a pathway program requirement which is 2.5. So you can go through that pathway. Academic and English language requirements are lower to enter a pathway program, offering a bridge to a full degree status. I think it really goes back to those the formula we had earlier, like 2 years community college plus then 2 years into a top university. So the pathways that we have here is like Kaplan International Pathways. It partners with Arizona State University, PACE, UConn, and it usually accepts 2.5. So research about these pathways, for example, the Kaplan International Pathways. Tennessee Tech, they give you a conditional letter of admission, and it's available for students who have 2.5 to attend ESL first. So you have to attend those English language classes first. I like this kind of a flexible system because at least all is not lost if you have a low GPA. There is still something to work with. Of course, you need a lot of counseling. You need like advice. You need to talk to people. What should I do? You need to check back and forth. But at least all hope is not lost despite having that low GPA. That was all about like undergraduate students, right? So now let's look at masters and PhD students. Graduate school options, masters and PhD. What are the names of the university? Arkansas State University is accepting 2.75 for MBA engineering, chemistry, mass communication. West Virginia University 2.75. Murray State University 2.75. Murray State University. Oh, okay, yeah, Kentucky. Yes, Kentucky still. University of St. Francis 2.75. Missouri State University 2.75. Of course, you can see the majors. The majors differ. So I think this will be a good place to pause the video, take a screenshot, see if the majors that are in this actually tie with what you want to study. That way you can sort of make a choice of, oh my goodness, I'm actually talking so that you can take a screenshot. Is my major available or it is not available? I think that this kind of options that they give students for you like for our master students, 2.75 as a GPA, I think we will end this video by concluding that everyone can study in the US, right? Because we are starting from 2 GPA. I don't know if anyone goes through grad school and graduates with 1 GPA. I don't think so. I think 2 is like the minimum, right? Yeah, there are third class people, but I don't think there's a lot of people in that zone. So let's look at the academic rehabilitation strategy. When you have a low GPA and you want to study in the US, what should you do? So the things that you can do, what to do when your GPA is too low for graduate school. So you have your old GPA, and then we have to work towards getting a better looking revived kind of a transcript. So the old GPA is below the requirements. What you're going to do is you're going to do a post-baccalaureate programs. These are designed specifically to enhance previous undergraduate GPA. The strategy is take up upper division courses to prove capabilities, and this is actually from the University of Austin. And the things that you can do here is for non-degree students, you can take standardized tests. High GRE, GMAT scores can help offset the low GPA. West Virginia University and Pace notes that scores they make the applications more competitive. So these are some of the things that you can do if you have a low GPA, just to make sure that you do not get shut out of the system. Because at the end of the day, yes, you finished, you have a low GPA, what do you do now, right? It's staring at you in the face. What do? You need those pathways in order to get better so you can get into grad school. So here, one of the things that is important, I actually did a video on how to explain your low GPA in your SOP. If you've not watched that video, go ahead and watch that video, because it is extremely important to understand how to explain it. You cannot skip it. As you can see here, the explanation strategy, owning your story, how to address low GPA in your SOP. Go and watch the video. The mistake, do not make no excuses. Don't write paragraphs about the struggle. Don't be defensive. Don't blame the professor. What you have to do is you have to provide context, what happened. Number 2, what you did. And then number 3, proof of recovery. I highly recommend you all go, if you have a low GPA, that video is a must for you to watch it, take notes, and apply, because you cannot ignore it. And you need to be able to explain it, but you need a strategy in order to explain why did you have a low GPA. Okay, you need to explain that. So what are you going to do? Your action plan. It doesn't matter what year this video meets you, 2026, 2027. What you're going to do, step 1, if you have a low GPA, calculate and convert your GPA. What are we looking at? You can use the West evaluation. You can use other evaluation systems. Be sure, be clear on what your GPA is. Then you select your pathway. Am I going to be going through 2 years community college, or am I going to do some GRE, GMAT to improve my scores? Like, what is my strategy to apply with this low GPA? Then you craft your narrative, leverage English, and then you apply. And I'm sure you are going to get in. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful. Please do well to like the video, share with a friend, a brother, a sister, an auntie, an uncle, anyone that you think that this is going to help. And let me know in the comment section, was this helpful for you? Please let me know. And if there are any topics that you are interested in, you want me to capture, you want me to do a video on, let me know in the comment section. I am going to see you all in the next one. Peace.